I'm running on like 3 hours of sleep. Just landed back from Philadelphia after being at the incredible NFC Championship game. A lot is going on. Already getting you ready for Eagles versus Chiefs. Some interesting injury stuff. Gannon not going to be an NFL head coach. And a really sweet giveaway. Stay tuned. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Monday. Easily the most exciting, most fun football weekend I've had probably in my entire life. Honestly, it was an absolute blast. I'll talk about my experience at Lincoln Financial Field yesterday coming up in just 1 second. But, as we always do, there's a lot to get to today. Even though Philadelphia won, even though the Chiefs won, we already have a Super Bowl matchup set, we need to start getting ready for that Super Bowl matchup 2 weeks from yesterday. And the Chiefs, let's start there, are a little bit banged up. Now, we're going to get more injury news, I think, later on this week. But coming off of yesterday's win against the Cincinnati Bengals on a game-winning field goal, they're not healthy. You talk about Philadelphia battling injuries all year long and finally getting healthy throughout the past couple of weeks. The Chiefs are extremely injured right now. Look at this report from ChiefsWire.com on USA Today. Quote, the team suffered several injuries during the course of the game against the Bengals. In the first half, cornerback L'Jarius Sneed, who was ruled out of the game with a concussion. Wide receiver Kadarius Toney left the game with an ankle injury. In the second half of the game, linebacker Willie Gay Jr. suffered a shoulder injury. Wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster had a knee injury. And wide receiver Mecole Hardman aggravated his pelvis injury. Reconfirmed 4 of those injuries and had comments on 2 more players battling through it. He talked about, obviously, Patrick Mahomes and Jason Kelce, who was a game-time decision. I saw reports on Twitter as I was walking to the link saying that Kelce's back was having some sort of tightness or spasms. He was questionable to play. Obviously, he did end up playing in that one, but right now, you're talking about starters banged up for the Chiefs. 2 weeks is a long time before the Super Bowl. A lot of these guys are most likely going to play, but just because you're playing doesn't guarantee you're healthy. This is very, very big and important news, I think, for Philadelphia. We're all going to focus in on Patrick Mahomes and his ankle health. He seemingly is just fine. I know he's limping in the past couple of games, but the report was pre-game yesterday, he did not receive an ankle injury injection before the game, meaning that the pain tolerance, I think, was very doable. So everyone talking about, oh, Mahomes is still going to be banged up for the Eagles matchup. Oh, Eagles' defensive line is going to absolutely dominate. I still think they will, but I think more of the other major injuries are some of these other skill players. Kadarius Toney has turned into essentially their Tyreek Hill. Not the same player, but they used him a lot in terms of the screen game, the short yardage game to go ahead and take an 8-yard play for, 55 yards or something like that. But if he's banged up, Juju Smith-Schuster is banged up, Mecole Hardman aggravates that pelvis injury. Look out for the Chiefs to be not at 100% going into the Super Bowl, meaning a healthy Philadelphia Eagles team could be looking pretty darn good. I will have plenty of how I feel about the Eagles, how I feel about the Chiefs for the next couple of weeks. Early indication, though, very early indication, I love the Eagles' chances. How can you not love the Eagles' chances after what they did to the number 1 defense yesterday? Thumbs up down below if you're feeling very, very good about Philadelphia's chances to win just 13 days from today. Okay, let's go over to some other news here. And again, this is just kind of some subtle NFL news that ties into Philadelphia, and then we'll get into, obviously, the NFC title game. This is big, though. The Dolphins hired Vic Fangio yesterday, and that does matter for Philadelphia, and Bleeding Green Nation has a very interesting write-up here, basically basing it all on the Tom Pelissero tweet. Quote, Dolphins have agreed to terms with Vic Fangio on a deal that makes him the NFL's highest-paid coordinator per sources. 3-year deal with a 4th-year team option. Fangio, the former Broncos coach, is one of the football's best defensive minds. Huge get for Mike McDaniels. Now, obviously, Bleeding Green Nation says it here. The Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni mentioned they had some options for Gannon's role both in-house and elsewhere, but with Fangio no longer an option, they might look to promote defensive pass game coordinator Denard Wilson if Gannon were to leave. More on that in just 1 second. First, I'm not surprised Fangio is leaving. He was obviously a consultant for the Eagles defense in the offseason, possibly during the regular season as well, but going to Miami gives him a really good chance to win a lot of football games and get back into the head coaching conversation because the Dolphins are going to win a lot of games with Mike McDaniels, plus that defense is pretty darn good. Seemingly, this is a great hire for the Miami Dolphins. Congrats to them, but Philadelphia missing out, it's not that big of a deal because Jonathan Gannon seemingly yesterday on the on Fox 29 with David, I'm going to butcher this last name, Gritzbowski, is how you say his name, basically dispelled the rumors he was going to get hired somewhere, which could change, but listen to Gannon's take on if he's going to leave Philly. This is post-game yesterday at the Link.
This might be your last one here, because you might get the call.
No, Philly's keeping me. We're good, bad, or indifferent. I'm staying here.
How about that? I mean, come on. I mean, now, this could be based on the fact that we're looking at the Houston Texans possibly hiring 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans today, this afternoon, tomorrow, who knows? And Gannon was seemingly kind of the leader in the clubhouse for that job, but he could still get a call the next couple of days. He could still go interview for a bevy of jobs, but I think Gannon understands, one, he's going to have a really good defense in Philadelphia as long as he stays, meaning he's going to have a chance to get an NFL head coaching job for the next couple of seasons, and two, most teams are wanting NFL or offensive coordinators or offensive-minded guys to be their head coaches, and so the market for Gannon might not have been that high. Now, from an Eagles perspective, this is good news, and for all that we do in terms of ripping Jonathan Gannon during the regular season whenever he doesn't blitz here or he plays soft coverage there, he has taken it up a notch in the postseason. They've brought a lot more blitzes. They played a lot more press man coverage, even when, yeah, you're not playing great quarterbacks in Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy and Josh Johnson, but still, Eagles defense has held opponents to a total of 14 points, 7 points per game, and 2 playoff games, and they're playing the best defense we've seen them play all year. You have to at least give credit where credit is due. Gannon staying is good news for Philadelphia. My hope is that he doesn't just play great or coach great in the postseason, which, again, we want to because you want to win those games, but mix it up in the regular season as well, and those 14 wins and a couple of losses could be a couple more wins because a couple of those losses you can kind of hang the hat on Gannon along with some other culprits as well. So I think that's, again, good news for Philadelphia. I think it's really good news for Philadelphia, and it's great that the Eagles coaching staff is going to remain very much the same, seemingly as Shane Steichen. He's getting interviews, maybe the Colts job, maybe not, but it looks like he's probably going to stay in Philly, which, can he say, run it back? I mean, come on, you just won the NFC title game. You go win a Super Bowl and you keep all your coordinators. That is very, very exciting. Now, speaking of yesterday, I was walking into the stadium, right? And this, of course, flag was given to me right here during the divisional round game, which I was at 2 weeks ago, hanging that up on the wall. This flag was given out to every single fan in attendance for the NFC Championship game, which I was at yesterday. And as I'm walking in, I'm handed this flag, and I went, you know what? Let me go ahead and sneak a second one. There was a table with a bunch of extra ones, and I asked, but I got an extra one right here. And I'm going to give it to one of you guys because I'm telling you, the fact that I have almost 8,000 of you loyal subscribers in just a couple of months is unbelievable here. And you guys love watching the show. I met a bunch of fans at the show. Shout out to Lamb and Mike, the guys who invited me to their tailgate yesterday. But I want to give you guys this, especially if you weren't able to go to the game. So I'm going to pick a random member of the channel. If you've not joined the channel, there's a membership down below right now. It really helps the channel continue to go ahead and grow. And a lot of you guys have already joined and have been loyal members from the very beginning. And so if you go ahead and already are a member or join the channel over the next couple of days, I will be picking a random channel member who's also a subscriber to be sent this, obviously, Eagles towel from the NFC title game. Really cool memento that I want to send to you guys. Only kicker is, if you're a member, you got to be in the United States. I'm only going to ship in the United States, which, shout out to Sydney family. I know you're a member of the channel, but Sydney, Australia is really far to go ahead and ship this to. So only United States people, but I'm going to mention this a couple times next couple of days. Be a member of the channel for your chance to get the exclusive NFC Championship towel that was given out yesterday at the link. Really, really cool. Just hit the join button down below. All right, let's wrap up here quickly with the Super Bowl odds and a quick recap of yesterday's win. No surprise that DraftKings and FanDuel and the rest of these guys basically have it as a pick'em. It opened up as a pick'em yesterday. The Birds were at one point, plus 1.5. It went down to -1. Now they're 2.5-point favorites. I mean, it's all kind of moving around. It's basically going to be a field goal game either way, according to Vegas. And I think the Eagles' chances, as mentioned, are really great. Yesterday was something that I've never experienced in my lifetime in terms of being at an atmosphere like the Link. It was absolutely incredible. You see some of the B-roll over me right now. The fans were going nuts. It was what you expected the Link to be like for an NFC Championship game. And the fact that they really started rolling after the Josh Johnson second fumble, or the second 49er fumble, the place was lit and didn't stop rocking until we left the stadium. It was absolutely unbelievable. I just had a blast. And a couple of notes on that game, because I don't want to do a full recap, but at least want to mention a couple of things here. I know that the storyline today is obviously going to be that Brock Purdy got hurt. Brock Purdy or not, the 49ers were going to lose that game. It was very obvious from the very beginning the 49ers were going to lose that game. Philadelphia right down the field, they score. The offensive line played maybe their best game of the entire year, and that's considered one of the best defensive lines in the National Football League. Lane Johnson held Nick Bosa to 0 pressures, 0 hits, and 0 sacks with the torn abductor, which is unbelievable. Thumbs up for Lane Johnson. Jalen Hurts didn't have to throw a bunch, but really, they didn't ask him to throw a bunch. It was a good defense. They got a little bit of pressure at times. Hurts Hurts, dinking and dunking underneath, missed a deep ball to A.J. Brown. Yes, that was, a bad throw, but overall, this game was over at halftime again, and Philadelphia just had to run the clock out. So offensively, it was a perfect game. If they do exactly what they did offensively in this game against the Chiefs, they're still going to win because they run the football and control the clock better than any team in the National Football League, and it's not even close. Don't even get me started on the defense. This defense it's crazy right now. And I know it's hard to gauge because Brock Purdy got injured, but Brock Purdy was in the football game when Hassan Reddick had another strip sack, another sack of his really Defensive Player of the Year season, which is ridiculous. He was not voted a finalist, but his front four, really this front five, because of Reddick being an outside linebacker / pass rusher, is playing at a level not even the 2017 team can even get close to, and that team could rush the passer very, very well. I think Philly's chances to beat the Chiefs are extremely high. I mean, I really do. I almost feel better about the Eagles' chances this year than I did in 2017 going against Brady. I mean, the Patriots were a lot more healthy in that game. I know Gronk was a little bit banged up, but they were way healthier than the Chiefs, as we talked about at the opening of this show, and I think that the Eagles' defensive line and offensive lines are unbeatable. The Chiefs have one good player, that's Chris Jones. Now, he's great. But after Chris Jones, name another Chiefs pass rusher. I can't because they're not that good. I think the Eagle offensive line might be one of the best I've seen in my entire 26 years on planet Earth, maybe one of the best in the past 50 years. They're unbelievable. And this defensive line gets after you. Yes, it's Mahomes. Yes, Andy Reid has 2 weeks. Yes, we'll have a lot more to talk about on that subject coming up the next couple of days and weeks. But early thoughts on that game are that Philly is going to be tough to beat. And I think Nick Sirianni and Steichen and Gannon, they have 2 weeks as well, and they're going to possibly game plan something really, really special to go ahead and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. How do you guys feel about that one? Let me know down below in the comments section. Plenty more stuff coming up this week. Cannot thank you guys enough. Be sure to become a member. That way you can get your shot at the towel from yesterday. I got to open it up right there. It says it all. Go Birds. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.